So I'm really glad that you brought up Alice in Wonderland because one of the ways that I kind of discuss multiple sclerosis and what it's like to live with it is with the analogy of Alice in Wonderland. Because Alice went through such a huge change in her life. And like I said, she kind of she fell down the rabbit hole and then things looked the same, but a baby was a pig and the pig wasn't supposed to be there. And then she would talk to people who were saying words and phrases that meant to make sense but didn't actually make any sense. And that was one of the reasons why it was so terrifying, is that it was not something that she expected. She expected adults to speak a certain way, and yet they didn't. She expected, someone to be swaddling a baby, not swaddling a pig, and all of that kind of weirdness. And the change of her own mindset of having to go, okay, I actually don't know anything. And I thought I figured out the world, but I didn't know that this was here. And yes, it does make you feel like a fairy. I want to get some really nice fairy wings too for Halloween. That would be great. So I love the story of Alice in Wonderland for so many reasons. And before I got MS, I wrote a paper on it in my fourth year of university on exactly how I interpreted the story, which was it was a story about growing up, and it was a story about your world changing around you, but not visually, just the expectations and the things that you could and couldn't do. So with multiple sclerosis, it felt very similar to that because one day I was a healthy person and I was living my life and I felt like I understood the world. I was 23, I just graduated university, I was on my career path, I knew what I wanted to do. I'm such a hardworking person that I was getting there. And then I fell down a rabbit hole and things were completely different, even though for everybody else the world was the same and their expectations were met. For me, everything changed. The way that I saw myself changed, the way that I saw other people changed, the way that I felt that I would have been treated wasn't the way that I actually was treated. And it was terrifying, absolutely terrifying when you're so lost in the world that is around you. And for that reason, I felt really relatable or relate. I felt like Alice in Wonderland really related to me. And I was thinking about doing a podcast on this, which I might end up doing anyways. But it's kind of like the road to healing, but in a story form. How you first fall and everything is different and everything is wrong and everything is not the way it should be. But then you go through the experience, and as you go through, you learn how to adapt and you learn how to change with what's happening. Oh, thank you. I just know that for me, I felt so lost, so lost. And I was constantly looking around for someone's hand that I could grab onto and be like, please help me with this. Please explain this to me. And though there are amazing people in the disability community and amazing folks that I did speak to, I didn't always feel like there was that relatable hand who was like, you know what? I can understand to a degree, and I've gone through a similar thing, and here's how I dealt with it, and here's where I am now. And it was really important for me to be that message for other people to say, you can be okay. And yes, your life isn't the same before you fell down the rabbit hole or got your symptoms, but that doesn't mean that it's bad now. Thank you. I really appreciate the support. And I also appreciate folks helping me get the message out there that living with this disease is so strange and scary because you never know when you're going to get another symptom. You never know when one week you're going to be fine and then the next week you're going to be bedridden. And that constant change in life can be so scary and so daunting. But I just want you to know that there are roads that lead to healing and to not so dark places. And I truly did feel for a while that there was no way out, that I was just going to be in pain forever and it was going to suck. and I accepted it, which was a coping mechanism, but probably wasn't the best thing to do in hindsight because I didn't accept it in the proper way. I kind of just accepted it as, okay, I guess this is going to be my life now, and I'm just going to wait until things get worse, and it is going to get worse. And what do I do with this situation now? But I was able to find hope in so many different places, including my amazing support system, and really trying to speak out about how folks who are disabled are treated or how we go through our experiences is super important to me. So if anyone is listening and they feel lost and alone and that there's no way out of their situation, I'm just sending you love. And I hope you know that there is a way to live happily with the situation that you're in. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And I'm also not saying that I have all the answers because I definitely don't. But there is a way to live your life in a happy, fulfilling way, even if it's not the way you had expected. And I expected to go into teaching or have a very intense career. I was really career motivated. My folks told me to do, like, not told me, my folks taught me to be super work motivated and to be looking for all the different opportunities available to me. And I did that, and it was great. But at one point, my body was like, hey, girl, you need to slow down a little bit. And I just didn't listen. And also the way that I manage stress, where stress is a huge part of living with multiple sclerosis and learning how to manage stress. And I would get from doctors all the time, like, just be less stressed. Just don't be so stressed. And I would be like, oh my gosh, how do I not be stressed? Because, first of all, I have MS and there's no cure. And also, nobody knows when I'm going to get another attack. So, like, that's not going to be helpful. So it was really challenging to be able to deal with all of that. And yeah, at some points, I really kind of gave up hope. But I'm here today feeling so much better and feeling more fulfilled in my life, and that my opportunities might be different and my life goals might be different, but there's still a path that can be mine. There's still an alley path, an alleyway that I can find and make my own. So just know that I'm here as support for anyone who's struggling with multiple sclerosis or other chronic illnesses because they can tend to be very similar. And if you feel alone, please message me and we can talk about it because you might not have anybody who can say, I know exactly what you're going through, but there are people who can relate and who can give you advice and who can tell you that it's going to be okay. And I didn't have people to tell me that it was going to be okay who had the disease. When I first got it, I would look around and I would see folks in wheelchairs or folks who were elderly, and I would think, how is this? How did I get this disease? I'm only 23 years old. And it was not easy to see my life going down a path of just more pain and more suffering. But I was able to kind of change the direction. And I'm not really sure how I did that. And I just know that it took a lot of reading, it took a lot of soul searching, it took a lot of time. And you really go through like the whole grief process when you get a disability because you lose a part of yourself. Your physical being, it's such a huge part of who you are. And the way that you present yourself in the world and walk around in the world is a big part of who you are. And it's hard when that part of yourself is taken from you because of a disease. Like I said earlier in the stream, I used to be an athlete, but when I got diagnosed with MS, the nerve pain in my leg was so severe that I couldn't play soccer anymore. And I felt like soccer and baseball were such huge defining parts of my identity where I was like, well, how do I know who I am now? How do I know what I want now? And I guess what happened was I kind of changed what I wanted and what I needed, and I started doing other kinds of exercise, though everybody kept telling me to go swimming, and I'm just not a swimmer. I don't know about you, but there's something about swimming where I'm like, why is trying to drown myself fun. But yeah, I ended up doing yoga instead. But swimming is really great for people who have motor issues because it's such a like calming space. It's not hard on your body, but you're still working your muscles. So yeah, I'm not an expert in this, but I'm definitely a survivor of MS, and it's not over. It's going to be a battle forever for me. And that's not an easy reality to accept, but I'm looking forward to the future for the first time in a long time. Like if you had met me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was an entirely different person. I had a really hard time keeping focus. And even now, I can kind of lose focus or my train of thought. So I do apologize for that. But when I was first diagnosed, my pain in my leg was so bad that walking was exhausting. And just kind of the idea of standing up and moving around and having to change the position of my leg was very scary because it was painful and nobody likes to be in pain. But yeah, it's been a lot of work and a lot of research. Like, for instance, I found that nicotine helps with my nerve pain. So if you're seeing me smoking on stream, it's because the nicotine helps. It's one of the only things other than marijuana that helps with the nerve pain. So if you have any questions about healing, it doesn't have to be related to MS. It can just be related to healing in general. I'm always open. So seriously, send me a message because I would love to talk to you, whoever you are, about living with chronic illnesses. You want to see my outfit? Little skirt, little top. Aw, thank you. Seriously, so much love. And thank you for listening because it's really great to be able to kind of get what I want to say out there.